All right, so we are bringing it in live on, I believe today is a special holiday. That's right, it's Indigenous Peoples Day, Indigenous People Day. So it is your host, Vernon Brown, here with Happy Meal Diet, showing you health, happiness, and everything in between, bringing you a weekly series, making sure that you can level up, get more understanding, and if you're open to it, get some live coaching so you can go and live like a happier, more successful life. Now, this week's topic is brought to us kind of on the coattails of what we were talking about last week about raising your standards. Raising your standards is one of those things that people are just, it sounds good, but we went through kind of the process of how you can do it, some different whys, some different, practices that you can do things. Now, this week is what we're going to be doing is talking about taking responsibility of your life, of you, and really understanding where do you start? Because everyone's different, but there's a lot of there's a lot of perspectives we need to really dive into, which we'll be going into daily. And we also need to be looking at just what exactly is happening. How do we do this? What does taking responsibility even look like or mean? Because there's lots of information about who's wrong, who's right, who's doing this, who's doing that, who's not doing this, who's not doing that. But there's not many people taking responsibility for things. And where we're going to start off with responsibilities for things, it's recognizing what's your stuff versus what's someone else's stuff. Any of my clients know that I'm very good about saying that to you. What is yours and what is theirs? Because if you can't take responsibility, you have to know what you're responsible for. So, I'm always about using a lot of metaphors with my son because guess what happens? Parents, we know this, especially my parents who are always like, oh, we're so involved. We care so much, which is you, because you wouldn't be watching this otherwise because you care. You have lots of, desires for things to be better. But when you're out there, Derek, adjust that camera. When you're out there starting to take responsibility for things, you need to understand if you walk into a room, my son comes into someone else's room, right? And he's going to one of his friend's house and he sees the floor is destroyed. And then all of a sudden, some voice, whether it's my voice, whether it's another parent's voice, more than likely be another parent's voice, they are hearing, clean that room. Whose responsibility is that? Whose? Now, it's great to be a kind person, make no mistake, but you need to recognize that if my son wants to help, he can, but that's not his stuff. And many times in life, pulling it back away from this metaphor, we go into other people's lives or they come into our lives and we might take ownership of some things, but those are not our things. It's great to be a kind person. I know some people believe in karma. Some people believe in just being great people. Some people believe in so many things, but regardless of what you believe, it doesn't change the ownership or the onus of who's responsible for it. But we're going to talk about today on how you can really decide what your stuff is. And I think a really great acronym for everybody is you have to be a team. Me is a team. First up, T, time. You've got to recognize how much time is this going to take? Did I take the time to do it? Do I want to take the time to understand it? Time is a resource we do not get back. Time is everything. 30 years ago, I did not care as much about time as I do now. Many reasons for that. But now I look at things of what type of investment is this going to take? Is my time truly going to be, worth it? Because there's lots of great people out there, lots of good karma out there, and lots of good initiatives. But you got to make sure that is it going to produce or even is it up and running for your time producing a result that you want to be interested in or an end game? So please pay attention to that. Time. Value your time. That is your responsibility to value your time. I have a really great video on boundaries. If you're open to it, let me know. I'll be happy to send it to you. The top 5 boundaries that people suck at and what you can do to start getting better at them, except even with examples. It's a phenomenal video, in my opinion, because it sums up boundaries. And it also lets you, the beauty of boundaries is it lets you understand what exactly time is to you. When I say is to you, is it a tool for you or is it just something you just kind of kiss and say goodbye to? So T is time. E, I'm always talking about energy. E stands for energy. Did you take the energy to really see that problem through? Did you take the energy to make that mess? You need to recognize that your energy is vital. It's important. It's just as precious as your time. Do not give it away to anybody and everybody. Not everyone is deserving of your energy. Please remember, A stands for attention. Attention is important. Attention is what brought you here to watch this video. Attention is the new commodity. Attention is a new currency. You got to make sure that you treat your attention just as if you're a hedge fund manager, just as if you are a race car driving 200 plus miles per hour with 500 or 600 or 1,000 horsepower. You've got to pay attention, because the second you don't pay attention, this car will go off the road. Take responsibility for your attention. Just because you feel anger doesn't mean you need to be angry. Just because you feel sad doesn't mean you need to be sad. Noticing is one thing. Giving that much attention where it kind of infects you, that's another. That's a choice there. But you got to take responsibility for that, to decide where it's, what your options are, which I'm going to be talking about on another day. And the me, the M, the team, the M, I don't know why I even said me. You got to recognize your money. Money is a resource, just like time, just like energy, just like attention. But you got to recognize, are certain people only calling you when they need something or want something? And please, if anybody's in a dating game, and I'm just going to leave it there. If you're in a dating game, I tell guys all the time. I tell women all the time. I tell people all the time. You need to protect that purse, protect that wallet, and make sure that you are budget balling on a budget. Do not give your money away. I'm not saying that money means everything, but money is the easiest thing to throw at a problem, but it's also the worst thing you can throw at a problem too. Not everything is deserving of money. Not many things. And with money, with what I was saying earlier, just because it's their emergency doesn't mean it's your emergency. Is that your stuff or is it their stuff? A huge metric that I go by is, if within the first few minutes of meeting me, if you're talking about what's wrong or blah, 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 we all got issues. We all working on things. And this might come across as callous. But when I start hearing what's wrong first, I get tight. Not that I'm judging, but I just want to make sure that people aren't asking for money. I grew up very different than a lot of people in this world. And one of the things I always pay attention to is language. And when I started hearing a certain language, it's like, uh-oh, team thinking. This ain't my stuff. This is your stuff. Team. I'm all about a team. Me is a team. And these are your key players: your time, your energy, your attention, and your money. You got to make sure you keep the team tight. If you don't keep the team tight, you could be in some trouble, and you'll start managing other people's stuff. You will start putting your nose, though you have a great heart and you have great intentions, but that doesn't mean it needs the best parts of you. Team, take responsibility for the things that are yours. You control these things. I'm not saying that you need to be this person who's, so apprehensive or such, I know some people are a fan of this word cynical. No, I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is this: guard these resources, because those are your responsibility, not anyone else's. Go out there. We got part 2 coming up this week. And if you loved great information like this, we have Happy Holidays. It's our cookbook that has just released, and it is coming. It is out now. Get your free copy today. You are going to love it, because with Happy Meals, not only are we talking about health, happiness, and everything in between, we want to help you lose your first 10 pounds. It's what being happy is all about. Take responsibility for you. We got part 2 coming tomorrow. You guys are amazing. And thank you all so much.